Hey guys, it's Sarah me with Teen Wolf, episode 7 review. The episode title is called Currents. So the show episode begins off with a number of bloody patients arriving at the emergency room at the Beacon Hills Hospital. Melissa McCall, who is Scott's mom, she's kind of overwhelmed, and they're looking for the on-call physician, Dr. Hilliard, because they got a bunch of patients coming in, and then Mojo of them got away because obviously there's not enough doctors, and the doctor they need is not there. So they're like, oh my God, got away. People like calling pain. People got major injuries. People are bleeding everywhere. It's just chaos. So Scott arrives with takeoff for his mom, and she explains that half the accident victims from a 10-car pileup have been rerouted from downtown to BHMH, and that the ER attending physician seems to be missing and isn't answering any of his pages. And while they are talking, a woman with blood on her face asks for pain meds. Melissa explains that giving her something what our first examiner could do more harm than good, because you don't know what kind of problem she might have. And yes, giving somebody a pain medicine if you don't know what's wrong could actually do more harm than good. So Scott sits next to the hurt woman and he explains that he read online that human contact can help alleviate pain. He touches her hand and we can see the veins of his arms filled with a black liquid as he literally draws the pain out of her. The woman's face eases and she smiles. Ethan comes in screaming, and he comes in screaming and he has Danny who's not feeling that good. Back to Dr. Hilliard in her car. She's using her Toyota Entune hands-free feature to call the hospital, and she says she's gonna take longer than she thought because of slow traffic caused by the accident that she was to be tending to patients on the 10-car pileup. And back to the hospital, we have Ethan saying that Danny, he's having trouble breathing and the chest pains keep getting worse. So the Melissa thinks he's suffering from tension. Ugh, Lord, these medical terms. Pneumonia thorax, which is when the lung is punctured and air escapes into the chest cavity, causing pressure to build up against the heart and difficulty breathing. She also explains that his larynx has shifted to the side. Danny then vomits on the floor, and the contents of his stomach seems to be mistletoe berries and leafy greens. Now, mistletoe is poisonous. You really not supposed to ingest it. You could kiss underneath the mistletoe, but you're not supposed to eat it. And we go back to Dr. Hill again, who's still driving when a moth lands on her windshield. And she's like, ooh, what's this? And then as she turns on the white light, whisks it away. More and more moths come into the car like, hey, you ain't gonna be driving tonight, son. Nuh-uh. So then we get back to the hospital. Scott and Ethan seem freaking panic as Danny's wheeled to the X room. In the exam room, Melissa further explains that Danny's heart is being pushed against his chest cavity. So, fear that he might die due to a lack of doctor, Melissa then takes out a large syringe. Danny starts breathing and she stabs the syringe into his left pectoral in what appears to be a procedure called needle thoracotomy. Oh, Lord. Once inserted, the needle has a valve that is open to allow air to escape and relieve the pressure in the chest. Danny begins to breathe normally. Danny gasps out, thank you. Scott says the whole thing was awesome. Melissa counters that was no big deal. Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. Back inside the car, we see more and more flies flying through the vents. The car is literally full with swarming wings that she can't only see. In the rear view mirror, we see the Darok, the evil druid. He is ugly though. I would just lie. He is ugly. We then have Scott and Ethan exit the hospital. Ethan says, I do the Danny. Scott points out, the minute y'all arrive, stuff go all wrong. Da, 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 da. So Ethan went right for Danny when his brother went for Lydia. Ethan says he wanted her. Danny explains that they knew one of them, Danny or Lydia, would be important to Scott, and now they figured out that the person is Lydia. We did see Dr. Hiller's car roll into the parking lot, striking another car. There's no one inside, but Scott finds a single moth on the driver's seat. Meanwhile, we have Sheriff Stilinski, that's Styles' dad, takes Melissa's statement about the two missing doctors. Styles and Scott work out that the latest disappearance are definitely part of Darakarok's sacrifices. Because remember, he needed crap. He had the virgins. We had 3 virgins. Was it 3 virgins? Yeah. Then we had the warriors. The people that was in the ROCC. We had them, and now we have to have the healers. I forgot what else I said it needed. I'm gonna have to go back. Yeah. But we got the virgins, we had the warriors, now we got the healers, and I think we said we'll need scholars, because I think that's one more group of people. And so, Style remembers Dr. Deaton, that's the veterinarian. He mentioned that healers as one of the groups of three that might be targets. They are confused to why Danny was fed mistletoe since it doesn't fit the pattern. Scott listens in on the sheriff's phone call and found another body. At the crime scene, Aiden and Deucalion arrive. Aiden explains that what is going on to the blind Alpha. Also in the crowd is Chris Argent. He seems noticing that the werewolf, but he simply just stands his ground. Cause now he's getting involved. Cause now things are going down. Now he's getting involved. So at the loft, the intruder alarm begins to sound, and Derek jumps into action. His sister Cora Jones asks him what the Alpha symbol painted on the loft window means. He said they're coming tonight. Um, we go back to Scott's place, his house. Melissa wakes up to find Isaac and Scott asleep on the foot of the bed. They explained they was watching her over her to make sure she wasn't taking a third sacrifice because obviously she's not a doctor, but she's a nurse. Even though she's not a doctor, she's still a sort of healer. Nurses, doctors, what else would be considered healer? Nurse, doctor, and then you talk about different types of doctors. You got doctors whether for human or animals. Then there's I can't think of it more right now, but you get what I'm saying. Mom said that she's not a doctor, so she's in the clear. And Scott said it could be any kind of healer, and she was definitely a healer with Daniel at night, which is true. You say the boys like. At school, we got Jennifer Blake, who was taking over chemistry track class since Adrian Harris is buried, and we still haven't found his body yet. I don't know what's taking so long. Jesus. Styles explains to Scott that the ER attending didn't die like the other sacrifices. He wasn't strangled, but he did die from asphyxiation. Scott wonders if Dr. Hilliard, the uncalled doctor, might still be alive. Deaton calls Scott and explains that he will be the next one taken and Scott needs to find him. He is holding a moth while thousands of other moths swarm the windows of the animal clinic blocking out the sun. So I'm guessing that's like your telltale sign you about to be taken. You see some moths, get the hell out. You about to be taken. We go over to Derek's loft. We have Boyd leaving school claiming to be sick. They go to Derek's loft because Boyd has come up with a plan to lay a trap for the Alpha Pack. They want to flood the loft with water and run a live electrical current through it. He got the idea from Gerard, who captured and was able to render Boyd and Erica helpless by running an electrical current through their bodies. Scott arrives at the animal clinic to find Sheriff and Deputy Tara Graham already there. Styles calls his father as soon as Scott left school. Unfortunately, they arrived too late and Deaton is gone. Boyd, then back to Derek's life. Boyd explained that in a pool of electrified water, it would take up to 50 milliamps to kill a normal human. That is less than the power it takes to turn on a light bulb. He plans to disable the current interpreter in the building's electrical room so that the current will keep flowing through the flooded loft. Now, since it's 50 milliamps to kill a normal human, since they're wolves, I'm guessing it would be a little bit more than that to kill them. Because you're talking about they're not normal humans, they're wares. So you might need like 100 or something. We then go over Styles and Scott, who are at the clinic now. The sheriff promised to do everything they can find Dr. Deaton and urges both boys to return to school. Scott takes Styles into the cat clinic so they could talk privately. Scott believes they have to tell, we got to tell your dad about the element because he's constantly, is having all these cases, but he doesn't know the real cause of them. He's not going to know the cause because, they're werewolves. Styles is taken aback and he points out that Scott's mom could look at her son in the eye for weeks after learning the truth. Scott counters that his mom got over it and their relationship is closer now because she knows the truth. Styles argues that his dad is already overwhelmed with the case, and Scott counters again, saying he's overwhelmed because he has no clue why people are in town or he's supposed to take is dying. That's true. If you're the sheriff, you have all these people dying, you have no idea what's causing it. I'll be overwhelmed too. Like, oh my goodness, how can I stop this? Like, oh my god, it's kind of nerve wracking. But for Styles, the real reason he doesn't want his daddy to know the truth is because he's afraid that it might get him killed, and he can't bear the thought of losing another parent, which is understandable. Truly understandable. Scott pleads to his friend again, saying, "Please tell him." And Styles realizes that he's not right, and he should tell him. And Scott says to help. Um, When they return to the clinic lobby, Miss Moriel is there begging the sheriff to do whatever it takes to find my brother. So Scott and Styles like, wait, what brother? I didn't know they was family. The kind of look on the face like, wow, I did not know that. I didn't know that too until I actually heard it in like a preview episode. She's like, Now my big brother. Wait, what? Y'all family? Jeez, I did not know that. Cause it doesn't help with the names being different. That kind of threw me off right there. Miss Moriel, Dr. Deaton. And it kind of threw me off right there. Unless she's married, but we don't see her husband, so. So once the sheriff leaves, she approaches Scott and Styles and explains that no one in the law enforcement is going to find Deaton. She says the only way they can find him is to use a person who may actually have the ability to seek out the supernatural. And Styles realizes, hey, she's talking about Lydia, because she always tends to find in this couple of episodes she ended up finding what, a bunch of dead bodies all the time. Yeah, she has a connection that she's not just not aware of yet. She might fall. We know her. Cause she might come from a line of psychics. We don't know. You know. That's all you can do with the storyline. We then have Lydia and Edie are making out in Coach Bobby Finnick's office. She strips off her shirts as they embrace on top of the desk. The fire alarm sounds, and Lydia moves to leave, but Edie hesitates because he says fire alarms seldom indicate real emergencies. She points out that this is just the type of thing students might say before getting burned alive. Aiden leaves first, and Lydia is set to follow, but Cora blocks her. She says Lydia doesn't have very good taste in guys. Lydia knows which I thought she didn't know, for a minute. I'm like, and she said she didn't. She's trying to get rid of all this weird stuff. They're sitting there screwing. Whoa, I thought she didn't know, but apparently she does know. So, go figure. And Cora, Derek has sent her to ask, pretty much sent Cora to ask Lydia, hey, stop seeing Aiden. Cora then threatens to pull out Lydia's tongue out her head if she catches them together again. Lydia comments that her last boyfriend was a homicidal lizard, so she thinks handling a werewolf won't be any trouble, which is kind of true. I mean, if you literally had to compare Aiden to her boyfriend that was the lizard, I would say the lizard is kind of worse because he had the whole paralyzing thing and you couldn't move. I think that's worse than a werewolf. Just saying. Just saying. And Cora then grabs a rest and only lets go when Styles arrives and demands it. Dr. Hilliard's body is now found and is brought to the hospital. Melissa takes Starostinsky aside to show him what she's found on the doctor's body. She shows him the ER on-call's body and explains that he's suffocated by a process akin to crucifixion. The person is suspended from the ceiling by their hands in a way that cuts off the airway. They will have to keep pulling themselves up in order to take a breath and eventually will give out of strength and suffocate. Now, I did not know that. That is interesting. Because when I think of the word crucifixion, I'm thinking about, the whole cross thing, Jesus on the cross thing. That's what I'm thinking about. That's why I was like, oh, interesting. You learn something new every day. And then Scott hearing a steady tapping in the hallway of school, and he follows the sound and finds Deucalion in a music room. The Alpha explains about metronomes, comparing the tempo setting mechanism to Scott's life, saying its tempo has sped up considerably in just the past few hours. He then says that he can help Scott find Deaton if Scott can take the cane from his hand. Scott tries all sort of acrobatic moves against the older werewolf and is effectively stopped by the blind man's cane each time. That's sad. I'm gonna say that is kind of sad. You can't take a cane out of a blind man's hand. He's like a blind ninja, blind werewolf ninja. We didn't have Deucalion slashing him with the blade, and the hidden tip of his cane explains that he is not behind the rash of ritual murders, saying that he's not the one praying to ancient gods or gathering herbs or whatever the hell druids are supposed to do. And Deucalion admits he is part of the pack that he is part of the pack that wants Derek dead, and Kali is coming for him. I find it interesting that a girl name is Kali, since in the Hindu mythology, Kali is the goddess of destruction. I just thought about that now that I realized her paid attention more to her name. Is God Kali in the goddess Hindu mythology is the goddess of destruction. But then she did have multiple arms. He says Scott will have a difficult choice to make. Someone is going to die, Derek or Deaton, and the decision is up to Scott. Deucalion leaves him with a cryptic clue: follow the current. Styles and Cora have Lydia try the Ouija board to find Dr. Deaton, and it doesn't work. And it probably didn't work because she's all sort of like non-believing, kind of like looking face like, oh my god, this is like so stupid. I think if she actually tried, she probably would have got something. Just saying. We then, Styles tries to use psychometry, the psychic ability to discern facts about the owner of an object by simply touching an object. He gives her Dean's keys, although she points out that she is not a psychic. This too fails to get any results. Yeah, because you kind of big disbelieving, even though you're screwing a werewolf and you screwed a lizard. Just saying. Finally, Styles gives Lydia a pencil to attempt automatic writing or psychography, which is writing produced from a subconscious psychic ability. Lydia draws a tree and explains that she is not psychic. Styles is frustrated by her failure, but Lydia said they should be talking to her. Instead, she said they should be talking to Danny. Scott arrives and claims that Danny was a target but wasn't a sacrifice. Cora, Lydia, I messed that name up. Lydia, Styles, and Scott are heading off to find Danny at the hospital when Scott gets a text from Allison. She says she found something that he needs to see at her apartment, and Scott leaves the others to go find Danny. We did have Boyd throwing a switch and electrified the flooded floor of Derek's loft. Isaac wonders aloud if the trap will kill the alphas. Boyd says he hopes it will. At Allison's apartment, we have Scott. Allison says that she found a black light in one of her father's desk drawers, and the elevator dings, so they end up having to hide in the closet. And while they can find space, Scott pretty much, due to the fact that they're very, very close, Scott becomes aroused. Allison can feel it. So she tries, because first they're facing face to face, so she's like, oh god, I can feel it. They broke up, but obviously he still has a heart for you, because but then again, he's a guy, so it's being that close contact. So then she tries to turn around, which just kind of makes it worse, because now he's like, oh my goodness, doggy style, which is funny because he's a wolf, doggy style. Anyway, she turns back around and then they're close to kissing, but then Scott stumbles back and they freeze, fearing that the noise will alert her father. I'm just like, out of all the things y'all could hide in, seriously, you chose the closet, close confined space. Interesting. But that was fun. They didn't hear the front door close, open and close, indicating Chris is going out again. So they exit the closet. She shows him the map of Beacon Hills on his desk. Under a black light, you can see the special marks are shown on the recent supernatural events. The people were taken, the body was found, it can all be seen. There are also marks that Allison believes are predictive of where the future victims will be found. Chris returns. Allison pretends to be studying, while Scott sneaks out behind her father. Good thing he has werewolf's abilities, so he can sneak out silently. Even though the dad kind of feels like something's up, like, she's studying. Likely story. You know how dads are. Styles tries to wake Danny, gently tapping him on the face a few times before smacking the crap out of him. Styles then starts to search Danny's bag. When Danny awakes, Styles is like, it's a dream. It's just a dream. So he finds, his research proposal Danny wrote from his Harris Psychic class. So while he's going through the bed, Danny's like, why would I dream about you going through my bag? He's like, dude, I don't know, it's your dream. I love Styles. He's so funny and cute. The research proposal is for a paper on telluric currents, extremely low frequency electrical currents that flow naturally through the earth. Scott tells Styles about the marked location of Argent's map, showing the places the body will be found. Styles explains Danny's research, and Scott latches onto the word current, since that was Deucalion told him to follow. Back to Derek's law, we have Isaac and Boyd waiting, just waiting. Apparently, then Isaac knows something is wrong. The intruder alert light is not on. Derek realizes that, oh crap, the power is become, and Boyd mentions the main power, which powers the trap. That says the lights go out, figuring the power is now off and the flooded floor is harmless. Derek steps out into the water and prepares to fight the alphas, who know they're on the way. They like, he thought he was gonna get us. What? We is the alphas. Kylie with her ugly self. Seriously though, that girl really needs to shave her toenails. I know she's a wolf, but seriously, there should be no reason for her toenails to be that long like that. That's just nasty. Kylie then forces the door open and offers a short speech. I'm like, oh my god, nobody wants to hear a speech. Why do evil people always have to do this monologue thing? It's like so annoying. Just get to the fighting. We don't need a speech. Just fight. Just fight. We don't need your short little star process speech. So she pretty much has a speech talking about when Ennis died. She initially thought to simply find Derek and kill him where he stood, but then remember how Derek surrounds himself with teenagers hiding behind him, and she wondered what would she have to do to get him alone. And decided that kidnapping, threatening Miss Blake might work. Like, oh my god, get over it. Your man died. Okay, we get it. Your man died. Your man died. Get the hell over it. Find your new guy and get laid, cause this is just not working for you, boo boo. So then we go over to Aiden and Ethan, who's holding Jennifer. Kylie says that fight will be between she and Derek with no interference, or the twins will tear Jennifer apart. Derek sends Isaac Boyd away and faces Kylie one-on-one. Derek promises that he will rip out her throat with my teeth. Ooh, because this girl is just an issue. Obviously, she's just pissed off she lost her man, and she's taking it out on the world. We then have Scott's Styles, Lydia, Cora. They meet up at the animal clinic. They're going over the paper. They find a map of the telltale current that runs through the ground of Beacon Hills. Learning that Harris wrote a note on the paper saying Danny should not pursue the research, Scott realizes that the teacher knew something was going on. Yes, he does, because he's kind of part of it. Styles also points out that Beacon Hills has a high number of currents flowing through it, making it an actual beacon of energy. That's why it's called Beacon Hills. Okay. When they combine Danny's map with Chris Arden's map, they find likely locations for the future body dumps and figure Deaton is being held somewhere along the Tellic, the current that runs between where he was taken and where his body will be found. Cora realizes that the bank where she and Boyd were held is on that current's path. Cora gets a text from Boyd saying, "Hey, the plan didn't work. Alpha cut the power." The group is like, "Oh snap, we gotta split up." So Styles, Cora, and Lydia go to the loft, help Derek. Scott goes to the bank, get Deacon. Scott arrives to the bank. We see Deacon suspended by his arms. He's just hanging. He's hanging limply. So obviously he's been pushing, trying to pull himself up, and loses kind of breath. So he's like, "Oh snap, he's close to death, but not there yet." So Scott rushes forward, but then he's shoved back with a flash of light, realizing that hey, he's surrounded by a mountain ash, and we all know that wolves cannot cross this. So Scott tries again to penetrate the forest, and pushing against it with all his might, filling the room with the blue light. His eyes go from the natural wolfish yellow, and they go red as he pushes harder and harder, but the mystical force will not bend, and Scott is thrown back to the floor. He looks on helplessly as Deaton hangs there. Sheriff Stilinski is suddenly in the doorway of the vault, gun in hand. He fires at the rope, releasing Deaton to the ground. Back to Derek's off. He's in hand-to-hand combat, holding his own with Kylie. Styles Cora arrive. They head to the electrical room. They flip all the switches on. Styles texts Isaac to explain that they're there and about to turn the power back on. Isaac rushes to protect Mrs. Blake while Boyd is thrown into the fray by the surging current. Kylie and Derek both got down from the shock. Kylie is the first to recover and orders the twins to grab Derek and hold him with his hands cupped while she lifts Boyd up and drops him onto Derek's claws. Boyd is then impaled on Derek's claws, and Derek's eyes glow a bit brighter, and Boyd gasps in pain. As she exits, Kylie gives Derek an ultimatum: join the Alpha Pack by the next full moon, or she will kill all of Derek's pack next time. As the twins follow out, Ethan seems slightly remorseful. Derek applies pressure to Boyd's wounds, trying in vain to stop the bleeding. Derek apologizes, but Boyd said it's okay. He says the feeling he got on the full moon was worth it. He begins talking about a lunar eclipse and what that might feel like for a werewolf. Just before his death, Boyd remembers Erica talking about what might happen to werewolves during a lunar eclipse. While they were being held by the Alphas in the vault, she supposed that an eclipse might make them stronger. She then attacks Kylie and is killed. Boyd dies. Styles and Cora rush in. Derek is stunned. His hands are shaking. Cora then runs to Boyd, weeping, while Styles places his hand on Derek's shoulder to comfort him. Lydia, Isaac, and Jennifer can only watch stunned. In Gerard's room, Chris demands to know the truth about Deucalion. After Chris leaves, Allison shows up. Gerard says he's not surprised to see her, but he is surprised she took so long to visit. The sheriff explains to Scott and Deaton that they figured out where Deaton was because one of the Celtic symbols on one of the vials at the vet clinic reminded him of the bank's logo. Deaton tells him about his eyes changing color, and he says that Scott is a true alpha. A true alpha is one who rises on the strength of character and sheer force of will, as opposed to those who take the status from another alpha. Deaton says that it is rare and happen only once in 100 years, but he believes that Scott had this potential since he was first bitten. Scott realizes this true alpha status and is what Deucalion has been after all along. And he realizes that he is the target instead of Derek. Derek's not the alpha he's after, he's Scott. So it's going to go down. Next week's episode is going to be called Visionaries. That will be episode 8, and we're leaving us with 4 more episodes to go. I can't believe this is almost over. Jesus. I can't believe Teen was almost over. For season 3, you have 4 more episodes, guys. 4 more episodes. So that was pretty much a good episode. I mean, I'm kind of sad Boyd died, And I don't know how Derek's going to handle this because, that's his pack, Unlike those alpha pet who's like, screw our pet. But that's the whole reason. That's why it's called a pet. You're supposed to help each other. It's all about teamwork. But apparently, those alphas know nothing about teamwork. So can't wait to see next week's episode. It's called Visionary. And I want to know what you guys thought about this episode. What you thought about Boyd's death, Scott being a true alpha, and Styles and Scott telling Mr. Zelensky about, hey, we're my friend Scott is a werewolf. There's werewolves going around. Hey, we have a druid going around killing people for sacrifice. And I'm curious to who the Dark Rock is, because I've seen some people say it might be the teacher, the female teacher who's the substitute. The one Derek is banging. Some say it might be her. Some say it might be Cora because she kind of was, but she was dead though, so I doubt it could be her. But you know, it will unfold in the future. So comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.